For joining News Channel 5 for a weekly Throwback Thursday segment. Today we will be discussing the dangerous chemical methylmercury and the effects it has left for those in the Minimata and surrounding areas for the past 50 years. Could you imagine if you learned your everyday food source and water was contaminated with a deadly chemical? Could you imagine that when family or friend members occasionally shouted uncontrollably, slurred their speech, or dropped their chopsticks at dinner, that was one witnessing the subtle early symptoms of a debilitating nervous condition caused by ingesting mercury. Minimata disease shows us that we must not ignore the past, and the more we study and learn about it, the more it teaches us lessons about living, such as the value of the environment and health. Stay tuned as we take you on a journey back to one of the worst industrial pollution cases Japan has ever saw. The most historically reported epidemics of Minimata disease occurred in Minamata and Nagita, and the incidence of the disease was not limited to those areas alone. Let's take a look at this alarming information. What is methylmercury and Minamata disease? The methylmercury, which causes Minamata disease, is a type of organic mercury. It is a white, powdery substance. It is easily absorbed from the stomach into the blood and carried to the liver and kidney, and then the brain and even the fetus, where it is then absorbed and concentrated and causes damages to the human body. The methylmercury that enters the body mainly attacks the central nervous system, including the brain, and causes various symptoms including numbness and steadiness in the legs, hands, and tiredness, ringing in the ears, narrowing of the field of vision, loss of hearing, slurred speech, and even awkward movements. Some early severe victims of Minamata disease went insane, became unconscious, and died within a month of the onset of the disease. Methylmercury damage is irreversible. Treatment is determined by the severity of the condition and is similar to that given for cerebral palsy. Minamata disease is a form of methylmercury poisoning caused by eating large quantities of fish and shellfish polluted by methylmercury in factory wastewater. It is not a contagious disease transmitted through air or food. It is not inherited. Minamata disease was officially discovered in 1956, and in 1968 the national government announced that it was a pollution disease caused by the Chiso Corporation. Who is Chiso and Company? Chiso began in 1908 when they built a carbide factory in Minamata, Japan. Minamata is located on the western coast of Kyushu, Japan's southernmost island. It produced chemical fertilizers, becoming one of Japan's major chemical companies. From 1932 to 1968, the company continued to use inorganic mercury as a catalyst, which was used to produce acetic acid and vinyl chloride. Methylmercury was discharged virtually untreated into the sea until 1966. It is suspected that the company responsible dumped up to 27 tons of the toxicant into the Bay Area. What is happening now? The majority of Minamata disease victims are still alive, and surprisingly residents that were exposed to the methylmercury but did not get Minamata disease typically live longer than those not exposed. This is attributed to a reduced risk for stroke if exposed to methylmercury. Since being identified as a responsible party, Chiso and Company had paid roughly 10,000 accepted victims of Minamata disease. Many plaintiffs against Chiso have accepted 2 to 6 million yen to drop lawsuits against the company. Following Minamata disease, Japan had made many advances in medicine, technology, and public health in order to prevent future industrial pollution exposure, and Japan holds a yearly commemoration for those exposed to methylmercury and those victimized by Minamata disease. This unfortunate event is a reminder of how we should never take the essentials in life, such as food and water, for granted. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.